So now we're going to move on to how do we report a child protection concern. So this can include actual disclosures of harm, abuse, exploitation, even just the potential risk of harm or abuse, or even if you've identified that there have been breaches of the member protection policy or even the Safeguarding Children guidelines. Some important things to note before we move on to who we actually report it to. If you're confronted with a situation where a child has come up to you at a club, and this goes whether you're just a committee member or a coach, and they disclose some sensitive information to you, a child abuse concern. There's some really important things there for you to do in those first steps that people need to be aware of. And there's two things I like to cover off on is one, there's no need to interrogate the child. Just believe on face value what the information is and just take it at that. You're like the conduit. They've given you information, you take it, and then you pass it on. There's no need to sort of get a detective hat on and play that sort of role, and you get, some people may find themselves in a situation where they start to interrogate the child. That's what the experts come in later to do. That's their job. Your job at that stage is just to take the information and then to report it. The other important point is often when this information is disclosed, the person disclosing it will say something like, please don't tell anyone. I want this to be a secret. Little things like that. And the worst thing you can do is actually promise them that, because the very next conversation you'll have, you'll break their word. That promise is broken. So a lot of people struggle to think, well, I don't know what to do then, what do I say? You just need to, you can put a positive spin on it by saying something like, I can't keep it a secret, I need to report it to these people, and these people are going to come and help you. And if you can say something within that context, so then that's going to make the person disclosing that information feel in a much more comfortable space. More so than if you just say, look, I promise I won't tell anyone. Well, that's a straight up lie, because the very next conversation you have, that word is broken. It's also important to have an understanding of how you identify, or how you believe what a child protection concern is. Now, it's going to be quite subjective from one person to the next, and it's going to be a very individually based decision. But at the end of the day, if you even have a level of suspicion that it is a child protection concern, just report it. It is better to over-report than under-report. At the end of the day, whoever you're reporting it to will just say, thank you. And you may never hear from those people again, so whether it be police or child services, because that information that you've just told them, it may even fit into a much bigger puzzle that they're trying to piece together that you'll never know about. So in terms of over-reporting, it's much better to be on that side than under-reporting. Who do you report your concerns to? In each state and territory, there are, well, we've sort of split it into sort of two government agencies and then also some internal services as well. So say for example, and some of these differ in each state. So Department of Children and Families is one, say in the Northern Territory. In Victoria, it's the Department of Human Services. They essentially play the same role. And later in this presentation, you'll see, and also on the website, all these contact details are there, split into each state and territory for people to easily refer to when they need to. Basically, at the end of the day, if you found that it was a life-threatening situation and you couldn't guarantee safety for that child, you just call police. That's their job, that's what they do. If you had a level of belief that there was enough there to report it, but maybe it didn't actually necessarily need police at this stage, then that's when you report it to Human Services or Child Services. Because those two agencies talk to each other all the time. They share information. They have that legislation that enables them to. They can't disclose back, but they'll take all the information in. Each state and territory also has within the member association an MPIO, a Member Protection Information Officer. Those details are also found on the website in terms of who is the relevant person for you in your state or territory. There is even a capacity to call Crime Stoppers, because what happens with Crime Stoppers, you report this information, all that information is vetted, and then from there, that information is pushed out to the relevant units, usually within the police first, and then they'll make an assessment of it. And if they need to contact you for whatever reason, they will, but Generally, it would be just to get some clarification around when you receive the information. What you're looking at now is really who makes up the Tennis Australia Integrity and Compliance Unit. You'll see Anne West there as the head of Integrity and Compliance, and then Reese and myself. Feel free to drop us an email or call us if you have any questions or concerns around any of the information that we've gone through so far. We're happy to provide the support and advice when we need to. And if we don't know the answer, then we'll go and speak to someone who does, and then make sure we get the right answer for you. We also have an information and advice line, 1-800-11-SAFE. This is something new, and it's not managed internally by us. We've engaged external people to manage this phone service. And then from there, say for example, someone rang that number and had a child protection concern, then there's actually an on-call psychologist who is trained and qualified to deal with conversations like that. People can call and remain anonymous. They can call and make a complaint about anything to that number. And then basically it gets to a stage where that information then comes to us. We'll make an assessment of it and then decide what the next course of action is after that. I'll show you some more details later on the webpage as well, because there's other avenues that people can lodge a complaint, not necessarily just about child protection or child safety.